The Princess and the Pea. The storm raged over the small coastal kingdom, washing away the warmth of the evening. Through the blinding sheets of rain, a lone traveler approached the heavy castle gates. She did not look like royalty, yet her knock was firm and persistent. Inside, the royal family sat by the cozy fireplace, completely unaware that their lives were about to change. Prince Julian opened the heavy door, expecting a weary local villager seeking shelter from the harsh weather. Instead, the shivering girl claimed she was a princess from a distant land, lost after her carriage broke down in the forest. Queen Beatrice looked at the girl's ruined clothes and muddy boots with deep skepticism, doubting her royal words. Queen Beatrice decided to test the mysterious visitor's claim in secret. True royalty possessed a rare, delicate sensitivity that could never be faked by a commoner. The Queen walked silently to the guest bedroom, carrying a single, hard green pea from the kitchen. This tiny object would reveal the absolute truth about their unexpected and soaked guest. Queen Beatrice carefully lifted the heavy bedding and placed the single green pea directly onto the wooden boards. To make the test absolute, she ordered the servants to pile 20 thick mattresses and 20 soft feather beds on top of it. She smiled to herself, certain that only a true princess could ever feel such a tiny disruption. Later that night, Eliana was shown to the grand guest room. Exhausted from her long journey through the storm, she climbed the tall ladder to the top of the enormous tower of bedding. She blew out the flame of her lamp, hoping for a peaceful night of rest after days of traveling alone. But sleep did not come easily to the weary traveler. No matter how she positioned herself on the soft feathers, something hard and uncomfortable pressed against her back. She tossed and turned through the quiet hours of the night, bruised by an unseen shape beneath the mountain of wool and fabric. The morning sun broke through the storm clouds, flooding the stone dining hall with warm light. Queen Beatrice and Prince Julian sat at the table, eagerly waiting to see how their guest had rested. Eliana entered the room slowly, dark circles under her eyes, looking completely exhausted instead of refreshed by the grand bed. When the Queen asked how she had slept, Eliana offered a polite but weary smile. She admitted that she had barely closed her eyes all night, explaining that something terribly hard in the bed had kept her awake, leaving her bruised and aching. Julian listened in complete amazement, realizing the truth.
I am so proud of you.
Queen Beatrice smiled warmly, her doubts completely vanishing. Only a true princess, possessed of real and genuine sensitivity, could have felt a single tiny pea through 20 thick mattresses and 20 soft feather beds. The mystery was finally solved, and the weary, rain-soaked stranger had proven her royal identity without a doubt. Prince Julian carefully placed the tiny green pea inside a glass display case to protect it forever. It was no longer just a simple vegetable from the kitchen garden, but a symbol of the incredible fate that had brought them together. Eliana watched him with a gentle smile, feeling a deep sense of warmth and belonging for the very first time. Over the next few weeks, the rain gave way to bright summer days. Julian and Eliana spent hours talking in the palace gardens, sharing stories of their childhoods and their dreams for the future.
Thank you, it is
They
lovely.
discovered that despite growing up in different kingdoms, they shared the same thoughtful
so
perspective on
wonderful
life
to see
and a
you
desire
smile.
for genuine connection. With the absolute proof of her royal lineage and the growing bond between the young couple, Queen Beatrice happily gave her blessing for their marriage. There was no need for elaborate royal games or tests anymore. The entire kingdom began preparing for a magnificent wedding celebration to welcome the resilient new princess into their hearts and history. As the wedding day approached, the castle buzzed with excitement and joy. Julian took Eliana to his favorite spot on the high stone balcony, where the warm evening sun painted the sky in shades of gold and amber. Slipping the ring onto her finger, he promised to always cherish her gentle, honest spirit. The entire castle was transformed for the great celebration, decorated with fresh wild flowers and soft linen drapes. Queen Beatrice personally inspected every detail, ensuring the grand hall felt welcoming and warm. Holding the delicate bridal veil, she smiled, knowing that their home was finally complete with a true and caring princess. On the morning of the wedding, Eliana stood alone for a quiet moment, looking at her reflection. She wore a beautiful gown of soft white lace, but in her hands she tightly held her old travel journal. It was a gentle reminder of her long journey, her resilience, and the stormy night that brought her here. The heavy wooden doors of the ballroom swung open, revealing a room filled with cheering townsfolk and bright summer flowers. Hand in hand, Julian and Eliana walked down the center aisle, their smiles reflecting the pure joy of the moment. Queen Beatrice watched them from the altar, her heart overflowing with pride for the genuine bond they had formed. Before the entire kingdom, Julian and Eliana exchanged their vows of love, respect, and partnership. It was a celebration not just of royalty, but of two honest souls who had found truth in each other. As the elder declared them husband and wife, a thunderous cheer echoed through the stone halls, carrying out into the valley. The grand wedding feast began with laughter, music, and stories shared among friends. Julian stood up to raise a toast to his new bride and the stormy night that brought her to their gate. Queen Beatrice clapped warmly, completely accepting Eliana into their family, knowing the kingdom's future was in steady, sensitive hands. As the stars began to blanket the night sky, Julian and Eliana walked down to the peaceful castle lagoon. The celebration continued softly in the distance, but here, the water was as calm as glass. Together, they prepared to set a single lantern afloat, a tradition to bring quiet peace and light to their new life ahead. The stormy night that had brought a wet, shivering stranger to the gates was now a cherished memory. Princess Eliana had found a true home, not because of her royal title, but because of her honest heart and shared spirit. Standing together, the family looked out at a bright, peaceful tomorrow, built on genuine connection.